Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S back again, back here with another video. Hope everyone's well as ever. Um, obviously, this, as the title suggests, is part 3 of my video about facts, or well, my list about my facts, or broken up into 3 videos of my facts about Italian football. Hope people out there will enjoy it. Uh, I'd love to know what you think as ever, and any facts you might know or anything you can share about Italian football, or what you think about Italian football, whether it's negative or positive. Um, One of my goals for this video, maybe I'm being naive to be honest, but would be to obviously monetize it if I can in the future, if I get enough views and all that kind of thing, and donate some of that, any money I get from it, to, or any videos that I do about Italian football, towards supporting Italian football, like buying football pitches or stadiums, or training facilities, basically, like footballs for people in Italy and things like that. But anywho, I hope to cover as many. I hope to cover these 30 facts about Italian football if I can, and I've done 20 already. Hope people like those facts. I know some of them were a bit random, but anywho, I'll try and get on with the list. So, 21. Italy won the World Cup in 1934, 1938, 1982, and 2006. And generally speaking, normally at least get to the World Cup and normally get quite far. Unfortunately, the last manager we had wasn't that great, I'm afraid, so we didn't get to the World Cup, which was seen as, I think some papers even called it a national catastrophe, and people said, considering the country's had earthquakes and other problems, you would think that's quite a bold statement or a big statement, but it shows how popular football is. There are obviously other sports played. Like, I'd love it if everyone in Italy played football for at least an hour. But anyway, I know I want to try and focus on facts. But next year, all being well, I hope to think of a video with 30 of the top Italian football players in history, and then possibly even so on the 15th of March next year, 2021, all being well, if I remember and I manage to do so. I hope to do like videos like this, but on the top 30 players to ever play for Italy, and the top 30 current players, and also top 30 young players, i.e. under 21. 22, a lot of times, I think when Italy was, in the past, Italian football, which I talked about before, like about the defensive side of football, and anyone knows football will probably know that Italian football is known as very defensive. Catenaccio, I think it's called, if I pronounce it right. A lot of people tried to change that system, but unfortunately, the culture always went back towards, I think it was in '82 and in 2006 when we won it, if I call it as we. Although there was a basis in defence, there was also a lot more attacking play as well. People tried to change the culture, but obviously old habits die hard, so it seems to have reverted back. 23. So Italians are very passionate about football and have many songs about it, and also obviously Italy's quite famous for like fashion and all that. So I think probably the most colourful and vibrant kits are Italian football kits, and that sort of thing. 24. The club teams. I wanted to focus mostly on the national team, but I have struggled to think of any facts or find any facts I could talk about. But in the club team level, there's a lot of division between different clubs. Some clubs get along, but most clubs don't. And I suppose you could say that about any team, any country, even English clubs or certainly Scottish or other clubs. But I think a lot of people wanted to bring the teams together, and like on Italy's unification day on the 17th of March. I was thinking like that should be a good time to make the country be united and support each other's clubs as well, like club team level, and everyone to be united through the football team. And also, I think it's quite ironic. There's quite a lot of nationalism in Italian football, but it's quite divided, as I said, politically. But there is a lot of socialism I think, as like communist as well. So as I say, it's got extreme ideologies, and some clubs are even linked to like fascist groups or whatever, like Lazio or clubs like that. And but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't, because I only support the football team, I don't really know much about the anthem or things like that. But as far as I'm aware, it's about uniting the country together. So I think that'd be a good symbolic thing to unite the country through football. And I'd love it if people play as much football as possible, and maybe even not play too much other sports. And partly I said before, I kind of part jokingly said that I would, although I'm a libertarian, so I won't really do this, but I'd ban other sports in Italy so they could only focus on football. I'd say that would only be a strange joke of mine. Anyway, number 25. I must admit I'm struggling to find some facts, so I will say obviously Italy is a republic, and that's one of the things I love about republics. So that's one good reason. That's not the reason why I support them, but that could be a potential reason to support them. 26. Obviously, I'm sure most people know that about the empire, the Roman Empire. So for me, as an anti-imperialist, it is quite a dilemma to support Italy, because I joke about being, I've said this before, I know, but I joke about being mixed up or something like that, so like being mixed race, I say mixed up. So it's like a dilemma as an anti-imperialist, but because I support Italian football, as I've talked before about my story about why I'm an Italian football fan and all that sort of stuff, that it's kind of a dilemma. But because I've supported them for so long, I only support Italy really for football, but I still support their team. But yeah, there is quite a lot of racism and prejudice, as I know I talked about before. 27. I'll say Italy has a long history in the past of winning World Cups, and sometimes one or two European Cups and Olympic trophies. And generally, they normally get at least to the World Cup, or at least get to. I think Italian football is quite respected internationally, is quite successful traditionally, generally speaking. And sometimes, as an Italian fan, I don't always have the most. Oftentimes, as they, for want of better English, I don't have the most faith in the team. But I think if you ask people from generally, and I can be a bit of a pessimist, but if you ask people, I think they normally say Italy is one of the top teams. I know we're not quite as good as we are not quite as good as we used to be, but I think we still have quite a reputation. And I suppose because of Italy's successes in the past, it's kind of like we are perhaps a victim of our success, because people expect quite a lot from the team to do well. As I say, when Italy didn't qualify, it was known as like a national catastrophe, and the manager was heavily criticised for like not being able to be versatile enough or successful enough to change things. Number 28, Italy is known for having great football managers, possibly coaches as well, but people like Roberto Mancini, Allegri, and people like that are known around the world as being some of the best managers as well. Especially for tactics and things like that. Like people like Conte, and people like that are known around the world for being. Antonio Conte is known, and people like that, as I say, Roberto Mancini, people like that are known around the world for being great managers. 29, Italy won the World Cup in the same year I was born. Another trivial fact, of course, but that's not the reason why I support them. But I did say to someone once, like, I'm an omen for Italian football, but they said they've not really won much since that, so you're not much of an omen. But probably true, unfortunately. But I hope one day, I dream that one day to go to Italy and to somehow come up with ideas that will help Italian football to be number one. And number 30, I've got to admit, when I did this video, I was trying to find date facts. I couldn't quite find that many, so apologies if I wasn't that great, and I kind of had to make some kind of any old sort of facts. But I'd love to know any facts that you have about Italian football, or what your favourite facts are, your least and most favourite facts about Italian football. And as ever, I'd love to know your opinions. As I say, next year, all being well, I hope I remember to do so. I'll make a note do so somewhere or look back at these videos, and hopefully I will cover the top 30 players to ever play for Italy, and the top 30 young players, and the top 30 current players as well. I think that covers everything. Peace and love.